Hello everybody. I want to talk a little bit more about what it means to have your horse go on the bit. If you've watched some of my previous videos about the subject matter, you already are familiar with the term of the circle of the aids and what it means to have the horse on the bit, really, rather than thinking it's just the front end that we're focusing on the whole horse, and that actually the main energy that needs to be produced is in the hind end of the horse and all those good things. So I'm not going to talk much more about that in here. I want to give you just one more exercise in the walk that you can do with your horse to basically help them accept your leg aids in varying circumstances, right? And so far we've been going on straight and curved lines, and we've been just talking about tracking up, the hind end tracking up to the front end, all these good things. And now we're going to say to the horse, we're going to ask you to keep going, to stay on the bit as much as is possible for any horse in their developmental stages. We have to see how can they manage their bodies when you start to take them away from either a straight or an inward flexion, which happens in straight lines and curves and most circles. So I'm going to go into taking up the reins here for a little bit and just showing you how, when you're riding your horse just in a regular medium walk, and we've been out here for a little while now, and we've been doing circles and straight lines and curves and all these good things. And now I want to add one more piece. I want to add a little bit of a circular shape. It can be a large circle with outside flexion, counter flexion, right? So I'm going to have him just look a little bit to the outside as my head stays looking in direction of where I want to ride. I don't look to the outside. I look at the circle line that I want to ride, and I want him to keep moving at a fairly regular, relaxed rhythm with this counter flexion in place, right? And I'm just doing this for a little while now, just so that you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to straighten him, and I might, take him straight here for a little moment, just to get a little bit of a variety into the program. And then I'm going to do another circle here, up here in a moment with counter flexion, and I might make it a little bit smaller. And the important part is that if you want to keep your horse on the bit during these maneuvers, you have to say to the horse, your new inside right now is your left side. Although we're going to the right, my left lower leg is the more predominantly driving aid, right? Now I'm going to go straight again. And straight means a tiny little bit of a flexion to the inside, right? Here's the next place where I want to do a little bit of a counter flexion again. So I'm going to make him look to the outside. Flexion is not in a bend. A bend is when you bend the horse through his or her whole body. Flexion is just to do with a little bit of a outside positioning of the head, so that I could see a little bit more of his left facial side, his left eyelashes in the more advanced scenarios. But right now I'm just going to be happy to take him on this fairly, for him, small circle. I'm going to sit to the right, drive with my left. Both of my hands go inward towards the circle to the right. Can you see that? So that I have even rein contact. Now I'm going straight again, right? So it's one of those really kind of weird things a little bit. He was just swerving a little bit, so I'm going to do this again. I'm going to say forward, but look to the left as we're going on a curve to the right. Both of my hands are to the right, giving and taking in the way that medium walk hands need to move. Then I'm going to come around here and straighten him again, right? And that's all. I'm just going to let him have a long rein here. This is the very, very beginning. This is the second time that we are doing this together with this horse that is, as I said in my previous videos, fairly green and not very educated yet. It is one of those fantastic sort of testing the water kind of exercises where, when you, in the beginning, you can definitely feel the question marks that pop up from the horse, and they say, what, you want me to go what? On the circle to the right, but looking to the left? And how am I going to do that with my feet and my body and all that? And you're just going to say, with your whole body, we can do this. And you always have to think, as you're moving, let's say, on a circle to the right, the opposite, so what was previously the outside leg, the new inside leg, because the horse is looking to the left, is your left leg has to be more active and quicker and vibrational. And then as you go to the other side, of course, it's, if you're making a circle with counterflexion to the left, and I'm just doing it here on a long, super long frame, my right leg will be the more predominantly driving one. You see, and this is how this could be on a longer rein, kind of a version of doing what I was just showing you. There are many different ways. And the reason why we're doing this, and the reason why this exercise is such a good way to see if your horse is on the bit, is that you can't do it if your horse isn't engaged from behind. So that means that if you feel, as you're starting to ride these types of circles with a counterflexion, that your horse is becoming slower and slower and possibly coming to a whole standstill, that means the horse is not engaged from behind. From your lower leg, it hasn't learned to stay in a regular rhythm with enough push from behind in order to manage a shape like this with a different type of flexion. And if that's the case, and if it's not working, then you just make the circle bigger. You can also ride serpentines through a whole arena, and just randomly always think, okay, I'm going to flex my horse to the outside. I'm going to sit a little bit more to the opposite direction because we're going to go travel this way. If we were to go this way, both hands come here so that I can maintain an even rein contact. If I only pull on the right and this gets sloppy, the left rein, the horse's shoulder will pop, and then he won't be able to stay on two tracks, as we're traveling around whatever circular shape we're attempting to ride. So again, a lot of explanation, a lot of talking, but really important points to sort of make yourself familiar with, to play with, to, see where it takes you. If the horse stops or stalls, don't give up. Make sure that you're not leaning forward, which is sometimes, not helping the horse to go forward because you put more weight on the shoulders. If anything, if your horse goes slower, lean back a little bit. That frees up the front end, and the hind end can push through. And, practice makes you better. And as long as you stay in a mindset of, we're all in this for the mutual benefit and enjoyment, things can all be good. Nobody needs to get like tense or frustrated. And, practice will help you move forward and enjoy each other together more freely. And that's it for today. Happy riding. Thank you, good boy. Thank you, my good Spidey.